First question's from Luke Johnson.
Emmanuel, maybe this is a stretch, but is it fair to say that that without Mike in the lineup, it kind of forced y'all to acclimate faster and really kind of get on the same page quicker?
No, I think that was gonna happen regardless. Truthfully, obviously for me, like I haven't had any like OTA work with Drew. Like we missing at least about 2 or 3 months worth of work, right? And so we trying to catch up to that. And I feel like it's starting to come about now. And I'm starting to get acclimated with the guys and the team. Like, you move to a new city, you move your family to a new city, and then you're trying to learn a new playbook. You're trying to let everybody in the organization know what you're about. So it's all a process that had to be expedited. And truthfully, I'm just now getting comfortable around just the city of New Orleans and this organization, just the people and how they go about their business. Because you think that in the National Football League, every organization runs the same way, but it don't. So you gotta kind of get into the flow of things, and so I feel like I'm starting to understand, and like I'm not a wandering off anymore. And people telling me, "Hey, we gotta come over here, we gotta do this," and so I know what's to come next, and so. And as far as Traquan, what a great job this dude did. Mike went down, he came in and filled in that role and filled in it well. I look at the Raiders game. This kid was balling out, and then the last game, 2 touchdowns to help us get a win. So I'm happy for him. He's a hell of a player, and now that Mike has come back, I feel like we got 3 dangerous receivers on the field at the same time, and if we can get that chemistry right, it can be dangerous.
I suppose that's kind of what I was getting at. Is when Mike is out, you guys all had to kind of learn how to play with him off the field. Now, if he's getting brought back into the mix, y'all have already had that kind of
Yeah,
chemistry built up.
yeah. So it allowed for me, like if when Mike was down, obviously my reps went up. I was able to get in there and block and a couple routes. That usually Mike would run. I was running, and so I got an opportunity to really showcase that I can do it, and so it just goes to show that if Sean Payton wants to keep a defense on his toes, he can switch it up and move the receivers around and do different stuff just to make the defensive coordinator stay up an extra hour at night.
Next question's from Amy Just.
Yeah, you kind of alluded to this in your first answer, but on your podcast, you essentially said that you haven't met your ceiling yet. You haven't reached that ceiling yet. What is that, in your opinion? How high can you continue to make this?
Yeah, obviously, I've had success in this league, and every year you're trying to top that. So the most yards I ever had in a season was 1,400 yards, and so for me, like that's what I say. That's my ceiling, and I'm always trying to top that. Even though sometimes it might not happen, in my head I have to try to top that just to keep me motivated. I've been to Pro Bowls, I've been to Super Bowls, I've done it all pretty much that this league has to offer, and so where do I find my motivation? I find my motivation by trying to outbeat myself, right? And so I know that that's my ceiling, and I know how I felt when I was playing in 2014 at the peak of my career, and that's what I'm pretty much saying is that obviously like I haven't reached my ceiling. In 14 I was going and I had 180-yard games where I was just in my zone and the ball was going my way and the game was flowing my way, and so I can't I hope one of those games happen for me this year because like I said I know what I'm capable of. And if they want to unleash that, then they can. If not, at the end of the day, it's about winning games. And so I'm just happy to be here, and I'm looking forward to obviously crunch time in the big games. But right now we have to take it step by step and continuously make plays. And when the playoffs comes, that's when everything gets real. And I feel like that's where my role will come better in just being there before.
Next one's from Amos Morale.
Yeah, when we talked to you a couple weeks ago, you mentioned about just all the different personnel groupings the team uses, and how you were still trying to kind of make sure you were on top of that. I guess how do you feel now with the personnel groupings, and is that allowing you to kind of play more at the speed you're accustomed to?
Yeah, well, I got acclimated with it a little bit more when Mike was out, but now that Mike's back, obviously we got personnel where I'm in the game with Mike and Traquan's in the game with Mike and I'm in the game with Traquan and I'm in the game with 12, and I'm in the game with Benny Fowler, and so now we really move. We kind of getting back to that, and so it's crazy because the first 2 days is just like they call it personnel, and everybody's kind of looking at each other, and then it's like, oh yeah, that's us too. All right, let's go. But the first game when it happened, I wasn't used to that because nowhere else like we've done that before, and so now I kind of know what to expect. So I don't go into panic mode on it anymore. We just kind of sort it out, and then we go from there.
Next one's from Nick Underhill.
The stuff you're talking about, the ceiling, and I know like it's probably easiest to measure it by yards, and yards probably is a representation of how good it feels. But is there also just a feel element of that, where is 2014 the best you felt on the field, and how close are you to feeling that level of comfort with what you're doing here?
It's coming. It's coming. Today was a good day, a great step towards it, and then the last game as well. To be able to get close to a 100-yard game, and a lot of it is just about confidence and comfort. To me, like confidence is being comfortable, right? And so, the confidence and the comfort builds the more and more plays you make, and the more times you rep a play with Drew, and the more times you hear Sean Payton say what he wants. And so, once I build that confidence, I feel like the sky's the limit. Then it'll take off, and it's coming day by day.
Next one's from Luke Johnson.
Man, I was wondering what you thought of the tempo of the offense Sunday. It seemed like that was kind of what we're used to seeing from the Saints offense. So what did that seem like from your perspective?
Yeah, it felt good. The tempo was definitely there. We were able to run the ball. And when you run the ball, how we run the ball, obviously it opens up everything. And so if we can keep our run game where it's at, the sky's the limit. Everybody talks about Drew, but if we can keep AK and and those guys running how they running, it could be dangerous. So we gotta keep that run game going, because I know and not to say that we've made the playoffs to even speak like that, because we got a lot of games to be left to be played, but I know once the playoffs do start for any team, the run game is what really gets you over that hump and makes you a lethal team to make the run. So we could keep it going. It could be dangerous.
Next one's from Jeff Duncan.
Emmanuel, I wanted to kind of get your take on Sean Payton and his philosophy. I know he spoke to us this week about how he preached to the team of not feeling sorry for yourselves with all the injuries and adversity with the late night on Saturday night going into the game on Sunday. You're a veteran player. You've been around a lot of coaches. Can you speak to that kind of tough love and not allowing the players and coaches and staff to kind of have a built-in excuse?
Yeah, I mean, Sean Payton, my guy, man. Just to see him come to work every day, and the attention to detail that he makes his players pay attention to, and just knowing his offense, the ins and outs, and the little details of it, and how him and Drew work together, it's everything that I've always wanted to see, right? Because when you say I'm going to go play for the Saints with Drew Brees and Sean Payton, you know that this offense is going to put up points. And so it reminds me of when I played with Payton. You're like, wow, you sit back and you observe, and you see why are these guys having so much success, and then you see it day by day, and you're like, oh, okay, I understand why they have so much success. And so he's a coach, man, that understands, and from a play calling standpoint, it felt good to go in that game, and him tell me, I'm about to get the ball in your hands, and literally, like, I had a 100-yard game, but I really didn't have to do too much work. Every single play that he was pretty much calling, it was wide open, like nobody around me. And so that makes him special. And, he has it. Kyle Shanahan had it as well when I was in San Fran, and Peyton had that, and so, I'm lucky to be, playing under a head coach like that, and I appreciate it, and have a quarterback like Drew.
Did he specifically say to you all at any point, hey, this is how the league is, you can't have a built-in excuse that you have some
that's
is that part of his message?
That's universal, right? Even on the high school level, that's universal. Like you name a coach to say, "Oh, we dealing with this and we dealing with that. Let's roll over and quit." Right? Nobody's gonna say that. Even at the Pee Wee level, it's always gonna be that. Like, hey, look, it is what it is. That's life in general too. Like, it is what it is. Like, this is the hand that I was dealt, and now I got to deal with it, right? And I got to try to play this hand the best of my ability. And so, when he said that, everybody already knew that. If you made it to this league, you're already built like that. And so, for him to say that, obviously it was more reassuring than him, motivating guys, right? Because guys are already motivated by that anyways.
Next one's Miami Jets.
Yeah, you've played with some future Hall of Fame quarterbacks, and you played with some rookie quarterbacks too. With the Chargers going with Justin Herbert this week, I was just curious, in your experience when you worked with rookie quarterbacks, what are some of the, the positives of that, and then, maybe some downsides of that too?
I think Justin Herbert, I don't really know too much about him. I watched one of his interviews. I think he's an interesting person, right? I think he's a guy that goes out and has complete confidence in himself. He reminds me of like a Gardner Minshew type. Complete confidence in himself. Definitely different. So you really can't grasp to really. And I don't know him. I just saw from the interview. I was like, oh, this guy is different. Like you can just tell he's gonna go out and sling the ball. And in his head, he's not a rookie. He's going out slinging the ball and trying to win games, and he's playing with absolute confidence. And so that's just based off the interview that I saw. And so that's one thing that I say. Yeah, the Chargers are coming in, but he had a hell of a game last week too, and I think he threw for over 300 yards, and as a rookie, he's doing well, and so we got to prepare for that, and we can't take these guys lightly. We got to try to go out and win a game and put up points.
Last one's from Luke Johnson.
Emmanuel, you've kind of touched on it a couple times of getting used to the city. I've been wondering what was the toughest thing for you to get used to down here?
First, it was the weather. I'm from Houston, but I haven't been in Houston in like 10 years. Well, I haven't lived in Houston in like 10 years or practiced in Houston in like 10 years, so I had to get used to sweating again. And then it was just getting acclimated. And I think COVID had a lot to do with that, of when to bring my family out, trying to find a house, trying to find a perfect location somewhere for my kids to not really leave the house so much and have a pool to play in. And so I think it was everything, just balancing everything, right? Because, back in the day, it was simple, right? I was, by myself, and I just had to worry about myself. I could live in a hotel, but just trying to balance everything, make my family comfortable, and then learning the playbook and get acclimated, but I think that I handled it all pretty well, and, I'm happy where I'm at right now, from a mental and physical standpoint. So, I look forward to day by day, because it's just going to keep getting better and better.
All right, we're all set. Thanks, Emmanuel.
All right, thank you, guys.